Breaking news! The Atlanta Falcons are gearing up for the start of a new season, but just when you think nothing bad can happen during this time, that's when you're wrong. I'm going to tell you everything that's been going on behind the scenes, but before we go any further, make sure you've already hit the like button if you believe the Falcons will make it to the Super Bowl next season. Man, I totally believe that, but the front office needs to revamp this roster. Alright, let's get right to it. The Falcons have signed former CFL standout Nikola Kalinick to a reserve/future contract. Kalinick, 28, played 2 games for the Los Angeles Rams last season after spending time with the Indianapolis Colts in 2022. Before that, he made a name for himself in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now, you might be thinking, why is this signing important? Well, reserve/future contracts are often overlooked, but they are crucial to building depth and finding hidden gems for next season. Kalinick joins a growing list of 17 players signed to these contracts, including familiar names like W.R. Philip Dorsett II and QB Emory Jones. These signings give the Falcons a chance to evaluate talent and build a stronger roster base as they head into what is shaping up to be a pivotal offseason. But that's not all that's happening in Flowery Branch. The Falcons also made some big moves on the coaching front, introducing Jeff Ulbrich as their new defensive coordinator. After a disappointing defensive season under Jimmy Lake, the team is hoping that Ulbrich, along with newly hired defensive line coach Nate Ollie and defensive passing game coordinator Mike Ruttenberg, can turn things around. With the coaching staff now in place, the focus shifts to free agency. And let's be real, Falcons fans, the salary cap situation is not looking good. Atlanta is one of 6 teams projected to be in the red in 2025, with just 35 players under contract. That's tied for third most in the league. So how do the Falcons navigate this financial mess? Restructuring contracts is the obvious first step. Chris Lindstrom, A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates III, Darnell Mooney, and Jake Matthews are all candidates for restructured deals, which could save the team up to $37 million. There's even more potential savings if they rework Grady Jarrett's contract or cut ties with David Onyemata. But let's address the elephant in the room, Kirk Cousins. Signing Cousins to a $180 million deal just 6 weeks before drafting Michael Penix Jr. was a gamble that's now coming back to haunt the Falcons. Paying 2 quarterbacks has crippled the team financially, making it nearly impossible to fully capitalize on Penix's rookie contract, which should be the team's biggest asset right now. Just look at the Washington Commanders. They made it to the conference championship and have over $70 million in cap space thanks to signing Jaden Daniels to a rookie contract. Meanwhile, the Falcons are stuck paying Cousins $40 million against the cap, while Penix only accounts for $5 million. Sure, there's a chance the Falcons could trade Cousins and free up some cap space, but finding a trade partner willing to take on even a portion of his salary will be a challenge. This entire situation goes back to what many are calling a flawed process from the beginning. The Falcons thought they were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, but in reality, it's more like they were playing tic-tac-toe. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Was signing Cousins a mistake, or do you think there's still a way out of this mess? Can Nikola Kalinick and these reserve/future contracts help build a stronger team for next season? Sound off in the comments with your thoughts. The Falcons are facing a pivotal offseason, and while the focus has largely been on Kirk Cousins' future with the team, there's another looming decision that could be just as significant: Drew Dalman's free agency. Dalman, a former 4th-round pick of the Falcons, is about to enter the free agent market at the perfect time. As the dearth of quality centers in free agency becomes more apparent, Dalman is quickly emerging as one of the most sought-after players at his position. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler recently stated that Dalman could get top 3 center money, potentially surpassing Lloyd Cushenberry III's 4-year, $50 million deal with the Titans in 2024. And trust me, that's no small leap. Now, what does this mean for the Falcons? The timing couldn't be worse. The team is already battling against the salary cap, and Drew Dalman, who's been a steady presence on the offensive line, might just price himself out of Atlanta. According to projections, Dalman could see a contract worth around $48 million over 4 years, with $20 million guaranteed. If this happens, keeping him in Atlanta becomes a real challenge, especially considering the Falcons' financial situation. We all know Dalman's not an all-pro center, and while he's shown flashes of great play, particularly in run blocking, his pass protection still leaves something to be desired. However, the real issue here is the supply and demand. With few options available in free agency, teams are going to be fighting over Dalman's services. We're talking about a potential bidding war, and it's hard to imagine the Falcons being able to match whatever offer Dalman might receive from teams like the Patriots, Bears, 49ers, or Packers, who could all use an upgrade at center. As much as the Falcons want to maintain continuity on their offensive line, which has been one of their stronger units, the reality is they might have to make some tough choices. Keeping Dalman would mean a consistent offensive line for a third consecutive season, which is something many of us can agree is crucial. But at what cost? The Falcons are already up against the salary cap, and after all, the defense needs arguably all of the resources this offseason. Here's the hard truth, Falcons fans, Terry Fontenot and the team's front office will have to make concessions on the offensive side of the ball to invest heavily in fixing the defense. The Falcons' defense has been a major weak point for years, and if you've been following the team, you know how much work needs to be done. So, while Dalman has been a solid contributor, it might be time for Atlanta to focus its limited resources on strengthening the other side of the ball. But here's where things get interesting. If the Falcons decide not to match Dalman's likely big money offer, how will they address the center position moving forward? Will they turn to the draft or free agency for a replacement? Speaking of the draft, let's shift gears to some exciting news. The Falcons are eyeing ways to finally fix their ailing pass rush. If you've been following the team, you know how much the pass rush has been a major issue for years. But this year, the Falcons could finally be in a position to do something about it, starting with their first-round pick. At pick number 15 in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Falcons are expected to select linebacker Jalen Walker from Georgia. Walker may not be the flashy name some fans were hoping for, but he's exactly the type of versatile player Atlanta needs. His ability to play both on the edge and off the ball gives the Falcons a much-needed boost to their pass rush. With Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis already in place, adding Walker to the mix gives Atlanta the flexibility it's been lacking. In the second round at pick number 46, the Falcons will continue addressing the pass rush with Shamar Stewart, an edge rusher from Texas A&M. The Falcons have needed an explosive edge rusher for years, and Stewart could be the player to finally bring that dynamic presence to the defense. A rotation of Stewart, Arnold Ebiketie, Bralon Trice, and Walker would give the Falcons an improved pass rush group, which has been one of the team's biggest weaknesses in recent seasons. And don't forget, adding a veteran to the mix could make all the difference in turning this unit into a true threat. But the Falcons aren't stopping there. In the third round, they're eyeing cornerback Kobe Bryant from Kansas. Bryant, while a little undersized, has the talent and potential to compete for a starting role in Atlanta's secondary. With D. Alford set to hit free agency, Bryant could be the perfect fit to add depth and help solidify the Falcons' cornerback group. Atlanta's defensive focus in the draft is clear. It's all about the pass rush and secondary, and with limited cap space, hitting on these draft picks becomes even more crucial. In the later rounds, the Falcons are looking to add some depth and future potential with players like defensive lineman Patrick Jenkins from Tulane and wide receiver Will Shepard from Colorado. Jenkins provides a much-needed boost to the defensive line, while Shepard offers intriguing upside as a potential depth piece for the wide receiver core. Now, Falcons fans, here's the million-dollar question. What do you think? Should the Falcons make a real push to keep Drew Dalman, or is it time to let him walk and focus on other areas of the team? Do you agree with the direction the Falcons are taking in the draft to fix their pass rush and secondary? I want to hear your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going about what the Falcons need to do to finally get back to being a Super Bowl contender. And before you go, make sure to like this video, share it with fellow Falcons fans, and subscribe. Go Falcons!